Thanks for checking us out here on the YouTubes, as well as listening to the podcast, or podcasts are downloaded and listened to. Jimmy.
Yes, sir.
We just passed the midway mark. Week 9 is technically the exact middle of the season. Now they play 17 games, which I think is 18 weeks total. So we are now at the middle point of the season. Actually, what week was last week? Was that week 10?
Week 9.
Week 9. Was it 9?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it 10?
It was week 9 last week. It's week 10 this week.
So week 10 this week. So the week that we're playing in right now is week 10.
Yes.
But anyway, we're in the middle. That's all that matters. We are in the middle. And actually we are in week 10. I just looked at the top of this, so we're in week 10. So anyway, I love having fun with this
craziness.
So Jimmy, now that we are in basically the midway point, just a little bit past it, we have to give out our midseason awards, right?
Yes,
we talked about who we thought was going to be MVP and all of this stuff, but I wanted to switch it up because I think that we should just, show some love to people that have had a good start to the season. So, Jimmy, let's go on into midseason awards.
All right.
We're going to talk about who the biggest surprises were, biggest disappointments, teams and players, as well as who our offense and defensive MVPs are, as well as who's the best team offense and the best team defense. You ready?
I'm ready.
To start. Jimmy, who do you think is the biggest surprise? Team and player.
Team and player. All right, team, especially after week 10, after this week, I'm going to say the Patriots. I don't think anybody not only expected them to be 6-4 at this point, but to legitimately look like they can not only get into the playoffs, but actually beat some teams in the playoffs. It looks like the Lord Helmet, Bill Belichick is back. He's got a Tom Brady clone who's 30 years younger. And even though he's a rookie, he doesn't play like one most of the time. That's been the biggest surprise, especially how they've been winning games. They've been beating teams pretty badly. They got some tough losses on their schedule. I understand that. But how they beat down the Browns, who I picked to go to the Super Bowl this season, and the week before that, how they beat the Panthers, who are nowhere near as bad as they looked last week. I'm really impressed by what this team has done. So I'm going to say biggest surprise for me is the Patriots. Biggest surprise as far as player, I'm going to say, this might surprise you, but it shouldn't. Deebo Samuel of the 49ers, who is second behind someone we'll probably mention a little bit later, second in receiving yards. I know he's been a good receiver. He had a good rookie season, down year last year. I didn't expect him. I never thought of him as that kind of receiver who could be second, third, top 5 in receiving yards. That's never really been his game. He's more of a weapon, more of a gimmicky player. I think he's still a good player. But that has really surprised me. And he's been one of the lone bright spots on my 49ers team. So I'm going to say Deebo Samuel.
It's impressive. Okay, it's interesting. So I'm with you. So my biggest surprise is the Patriots as well. The one thing that didn't surprise me is how good the defense is going to play. Defense is top 5 DVOA now as they're coming into their prime going into this week. We'll see what it looks like after. Well, actually, they should move up after what they did to the Browns. And I'm not going to go as far as saying that they have a Tom Brady clone at quarterback, even though Tom Brady did not play very well. Put like this.
But as far as the style,
arguably, Mac Jones and Tom Brady do look similar in their first couple years.
Style of play.
They look similar. But the biggest surprise for me is that they were able to rattle off wins against a win against the Chargers, who's reeling, and the Browns. I thought the Browns should have played a lot better in that one. But at the same time, we know Belichick. He takes away your best weapon. What they take away in that game? The run game. They forced Baker Mayfield to beat them, and it did not work out. Did the same thing as the Panthers, Chargers, and the Jets, which, whatever, it's the Jets.
Yeah, Jets.
But no, I think that this was the perfect scenario for Mac Jones. We talked about this at the draft. So they did very well with that, and overall the team does look good. I don't think that they win anything in the last part of their schedule. I think they're going to struggle for 4 games straight because Mac Jones has had some comically bad games. And because he's had some comically bad games, it tells me that as good as we think that this kid is, he's only a rookie, which is the reason why I'm saying this. I can't wait to see what it looks like in 3 years. Player, Jonathan Taylor. He's tied now for number 1 in the NFL in yards at 937 yards. Tied with who?
Derrick Henry.
Who had this for like 5 weeks.
Yes.
He's been gone half the season, and he's already leading the league. But no, Jonathan Taylor has dominated the run game for the Colts, and he looks like the bright spot for this team, and he's making Carson Wentz look good. I love that about Jonathan Taylor. I was concerned about him coming in this year. And I love seeing that he's just like, F this. I want to be the number one running back in the NFL. It did take him 10 games to get to what Derrick Henry got in 8, but I love what he did. Disappointing teams.
All right, biggest disappointment in player, team is 49ers. Just a comedy of errors, of things going wrong. But I don't want to hear this, injuries. I mean, we dealt with all that last season.
Right.
It's everything from injuries to game planning to to so many things going wrong with this team that by this point we expected them to be a lot better than what they are. They're probably going to have taken another L by the time y'all hear this show or watch this video. Against the Rams tonight with Odell Beckham Jr. Probably go for 5 touchdowns against them. He's not going to do that. Off from the punt. 5 punt returns. But nothing has gone wrong. Huge disappointment. A lot of people had them picked to go far early in the season. I always thought the team is not who you thought they were, but I didn't think they were going to look like this. So Shanahan might be coaching for his job. Player, biggest disappointment, somebody we already talked about, Baker Mayfield. 22nd in total passing yards, 9 touchdowns and 4 picks this season. He's a better quarterback than that. He's got so much to work with that his numbers, his play should be better than that. I know he's had some injuries kind of here and there throughout the season, and I think he even got nicked up some in this game as well. But it's so disappointing, especially in a year where he's trying to get paid, where he's been that stability at the quarterback position that they haven't had since Bernie Kosar probably.
Yeah, exactly who it is.
Yeah, that I wanted to see him do so much better than this, and he just hasn't. It's like turning into a bit of a lost season if they keep taking losses like this. So Baker Mayfield is probably my biggest disappointment.
So my biggest disappointment team-wise, to go with your 49ers, I totally understand because I tried to tell y'all that they weren't going to make the playoffs. I had somebody jump in my mentions and say, man, 49ers are better than what you're trying to say they are. Okay, cool story, bro. They're not. But as far as team, Seahawks. I don't know what the hell's going on with that defense.
What was that yesterday?
I don't know what that was yesterday, but I know that Jamal Adams trade was awful.
Oh man,
it's looking worse and worse every week. And I like Jamal Adams.
He can't cover me.
He is if they could play him like they play Michael Parsons, he will be great. Put him out there at linebacker or the edge rusher.
That's the answer.
It. But they can't. They got to play him at safety. Right. They have to. And that trade's looking worse and worse every week. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Seattle, y'all are disappointing hell to me. Player, to be honest, is Tua.
Oh,
number 5 draft pick.
True. That's a good point.
We were tanking for Tua at one point. Mm-hmm. remember those chants? We're tanking for Tua.
I remember that.
And he does not look like he's an NFL quarterback. Now, I think it's also a product of his environment. Honestly, I think if you put him in New England, he plays a lot different. I think coaching matters. I like Flores' defenses typically. Mm-hmm. Their defense is not as potent as I wanted them to be this year. Uh-huh. As DVOA wise, they are like 25th with the 28th ranked offense. God, they're just bad.
Yeah.
And I think Tua just does not look. He looks out of place. So if Miami moves on coach wise, well, at the same time, they've already just crushed his confidence because they're trying to get Deshaun Watson. Oh, yeah. So what do you do, right? Mm-hmm. He's my disappointment this year. Yeah, offense and defensive MVPs.
Offensive MVP is Cooper Kupp. Leading the league in receiving yards. Jonathan Taylor's going to push him. Patrick Mahomes and Brady, they're up there as far as passing yards. But I think Cooper Kupp, he's got the better storyline because he came out of nowhere. He's always just like that little engine that could. His name's Cooper, little cute Cooper over there. I'll do my best.
It's horrible. That's horrible.
So I hope he ends the season the league leader in receiving yards. We'll see him again tonight against the 49ers. So I'll say Cooper Kupp. Defensive MVP, Trayvon Diggs. I think it's Night Train Lane who has the record for most interceptions in a season, which is 14. I think he's got a legitimate chance to be in the right spot at the wrong spot at the right time, or the right spot at the right time, or the wrong spot at the right, whatever it is. At least I see he'll tie the record 6 more times. At least he'll be in that spot. But with the 17th game, he might actually break it. So for right now, it's Trayvon Diggs. Because he, on a few of those early season games, he's the one who closed the door. He's the one who truly capped off
the game.
He
capped him off.
Yes, yeah, Trayvon Diggs.
Okay. Offensive MVP for me, I love the Cooper Kupp pick. Mine's Lamar Jackson. He's top 10 in passing and top 10 in rushing yards this season. He's on pace to break his own rushing record, single season rushing record. And that's because he's also got like 4 running backs that they got off the street.
Yeah.
Literally off the streets because they lost 2 running backs before the season started, basically. So Lamar's doing everything. And at a certain point, the human body has its limits, and that's why you're starting to see some games where he's just ridiculously good, and then the next game he's just because that happens. You can't do everything. You need to mix it up to where teams aren't just keying in on everything that Lamar does. The good thing about him, though, is that since he can scramble so well, it helps. The problem is that he's trying not to, and it's starting to affect him. So he may need to start focusing on trying to get design runs out of the pass to get them going. Defense, same thing, Trayvon Diggs. He's going to break that record. And I think he's going to break that record before the 17th week, so it's going to make it look even better for him. I think he finishes with 16 interceptions in 16 weeks.
If he gets anywhere from 11 plus, they're going to give it to him because it's been so long since we've seen a cornerback. Matter of fact, being the kind of cornerback like a Deion Sanders or a Revis where they just stop throwing the ball to you, it's hard to get any interceptions because they don't throw the ball your way. Him, like I said, always being in the wrong spot at the right time, he's just going to be enough times in the right spot to, I'm supposed to be, caught it.
Honestly, I think that's a plot by him. I think he gives up coverage yards to get teams to pass to him so he can get interceptions.
Yeah.
That's my conspiracy theory about the way Diggs plays football.
Tinfoil hat.
Tinfoil, best. All right, we're going to wrap this up. Who's the best team offense and the best team defense?
Best team offense, I came down to 3 teams. I said it's either Dallas, Buffalo, or Rams. If I was a defensive coordinator, which team would I fear the most? And that is the Dallas Cowboys. So to me, that is the best offense led by Dak Prescott. That is the most impressive offense that I've seen this year. Defense, this might surprise you. I'm going to say, and people aren't talking about this defense, the Packers.
They have a really good defense.
They have a really good defense. They've given up an average of 11 points over the last 4 games. Including blanking the Seattle Seahawks like we talked about yesterday, getting Russell Wilson back. So I think the Packers, they're sneaky good. And in the NFC, in the grand scheme of things, as much as I've gained a bit of a distaste for Aaron Rodgers off the football field, this may be one of the best teams in football that is there in the end, yet again, to challenge the Buccaneers for the right to go to the Super Bowl. So people are kind of sleeping on them. But yeah, Packers.
I'm not mad at that. Okay. Best offense, mine came down to 3. I looked at it over, but I decided midseason, when healthy, Arizona Cardinals. You have no answer for Kyler Murray and the way that he's been passing the ball. And the one thing that he does, especially where the receivers are playing and the run game has been really good, and James Conner has stepped up with Kyler out. If he does that when Kyler's back healthy, even not even 100%, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. That's where you're going to run into problems because Kyler doesn't scramble to get yards. He scrambles to throw a pass. And you cannot hold those receivers, Christian Kirk, Rondé Moore, A.J. Green, and then DeAndre Hopkins. You can't hold them. And then Connor catching it out the backfield.
And you factor in Zach Ertz, too.
And in Ertz out there tight end, you cannot hold them long enough, especially the way Kyler scrambles. If he comes back at least 75%, that offense is going to be a problem.
True.
Defense might surprise you. Dallas Cowboys. All 3 phases, like you said. Defensive line, they get good pressure. Lawrence isn't back yet, so Tank Lawrence isn't back out there.
And they lost Gregory. Gregory's on IR as well.
Oh, God. Yeah. So if their pass rush can try to maintain something, I think they will be fine. Linebackers, Parsons, my God. He's stupid. And Vander Esch is looking good.
Yeah,
he's healthy.
He is.
I love it. When he's healthy, he's amazing. He just can't stay healthy, in which I think he can now. And then, of course, secondary between Anthony Brown and Trayvon Diggs, which, like I said, I think that's a ploy. I think they purposely give up yards so that they can go out there and get interceptions. I love it if they're doing that for real. So my defense is that.
Yeah. All right.